Jello, dear Rangers. Since the announcement of Slime Rancher 2, there has been a lot of mystery behind the game. Sure, we've been receiving a lot of teaser trailers and photos, even some confirmation, but not enough to scratch that itch that's been tingling us since the announcement, to the point that some people are unsure if it's worth buying or not. A topic that is worth its own video. For now, I want to mostly focus on what to expect from Slime Rancher 2. No doubt about it, slimes are crucial to the game. It's in the title after all. Of course, the new slimes that are included are Cotton, Angler, Flutter, Ringtail, and Bat Slimes. What about older slimes? It hasn't been really confirmed whether or not most, if not all slimes from the first game will be transferred to the sequel. An interesting post from Nick Povovich, the founder of Monomi Park, stated that a lot of content will be scrapped or at least postponed during the early access stages of the game. Does that include articles? Who really knows? I guess the only thing to expect from these new slimes are possibly new behaviors and abilities. One of these abilities came from a GIF posted on Monomi Park's Twitter page. You can see here that during the nighttime, the angler slime seems to produce some sort of flashing light. Does this flashing light affect the player, or is it some sort of ability that angler slimes randomly uses, either for self-defense or just to look absolutely adorable? I think the one thing to really expect is new animation. If you compare the Cotton Slime animation from the earliest footage to the present, you can see the difference dramatically. Now, for all we know it, the animation has been around for a while, until now they decided to release the footage. But I thought to point that out. Exploration is probably the second most important thing in Slime Rancher, and oh boy, Rainbow Island sure has some neat areas to explore. These areas being Starlight Strands, Ember Valley, the coral crusted tide pools, if I got the name correctly, and of course Rainbow Fields. So far, from footage, photos, and a few teasers in there, the world looks like a I would say a much more colorful place than its predecessor. However, just like when it stated in his Reddit post, that the game may be in an incomplete stasis, including areas. Look at Slime Rancher 1 for example. There's bits and pieces from footage where there was construction laying around in the earliest development stages of the game. Even areas like the Indigo Quarry and the Moss Blanket went through dramatic changes. We may see that a lot in the upcoming sequel. Places may be cut off, reformed, anything is possible in the early access game. I wouldn't be surprised if they recycle some few things from the original. Like, I think Ember Valley is going to be similar to the Glass Desert. If you read the description of Ember Valley, it sounds very similar to the solar flare eruption in the Glass Desert. I don't think this is a bad thing. I thought I'd just point that out as an observation. I do think that the coral tide pools will be the most unique area to explore, mainly because it's very close to the shore. I'm assuming. Does this coral reef area connect to the slime sea, or is it completely fresh water? If it is fresh water, are we able to collect it? Okay, this part of the video is mostly going to be a speculation because we haven't seen any sort of gadgets being revealed. The only two things that I know that's related to gadgets or the lab is, for one thing, the lab will be fully accessible early on in the game. Two, the extractors are completely removed from the upcoming sequel. It's said to find materials in the wild, like we see in the recent trailer. Encountering any mystery pods is probably will be put in later updates, as well as the drone, if they're considering to bring back the drone. I think the one thing they're going to include early on are toys. It's kinda optional. At least in the first game, slimes seem very calm when given their respected toy. The lab will be accessible early on, so early on we may get some few gadgets. On the topic of gadgets, what about material? In the recent trailer, it depicts an unusual wild material that we see the player backpack. Now this could be ignonium, but it looks awfully different than its counterpart. It could be the change of graphics that make it seem like it's a brand new material. In summary, there's a lot to expect from Slime Rancher 2. Of course, some things won't be included on launch day. Shoot, I wouldn't be surprised if some areas are unable to be accessed due to construction. The one thing to really expect to keep an eye out are bugs and glitches. It's unfortunate a lot of things won't be released during launch day. I'm not saying that this game will be incomplete. It's an early access game after all, but I do think it's important to keep informed on what to look for in the upcoming sequel. Now, what say you, dear ranchers? What do you expect the most from Slime Rancher 2? Let me know down below. Like always, stay weekly.